I guess we have to talk about it because this is one of the things that I think has already had a big impact in this race in the 1st Congressional District. And I think it could be a big problem for Nate Blouin if he does win the nomination in June. Last week, Punch Bowl News reported that a bunch of old posts on message boards, like on skiing message boards, outdoor message boards, by Nate Blouin, attacked and mocked the LDS Church, made jokes about sexual assault, and even talked about one where Nate said that he had defecated in a church parking lot. I will give a little grace and say, this was something that was done 15 years ago, and everybody has said regrettable things in the past. But when I spoke to Reed Galen of the Lincoln Project, one of the founders of the Lincoln Project, a strategist, about this. And one of the groups that Nate Blouin is going to need to win this primary, if not the election in November, is that he's going to need Mormon voters and especially Mormon women. They're going to make up a large portion of the primary voters because in this district, about half of the voters in the new district are women and about 30% are members of the LDS Church. And that's just not overall. About 30% of the voters in this district are Mormon women who will be voting in this primary. And these comments, they're kind of disqualifying for him among that group. Reed Galen said that that group is essentially gone to him. And that's incredibly damaging. And I think it also does not help Nate that Liban Mohammed looks like he is going to qualify. And I've talked to a lot of people who have said that they see Mohammed as an acceptable progressive alternative to Nate Blouin. And so I wonder how much they're going to split the votes there. I think one of the best comments I saw when this broke came from Liban Mohammed, who said when Nate Blouin made these comments, he was the same age that Liban is right now. This whole thing blew up from Nate Blouin's supporters saying, oh, this is just an Oppo research hit. These posts were very hard to find, and these were probably given to the reporter by an Oppo research firm linked to McAdams. Maybe. I would even say probably. I don't know for sure. Nobody offered them to me, but that's what Oppo research does. And if it's out there, a good Oppo researcher is going to find it. In the past, as a reporter, I've been offered opposition research plenty of times. There have been times when I've looked at it and I said, no, I don't think that that's a story, and they hand it off to somebody else. But there have been times when, yes, I've been given Oppo research and it turned into a pretty good story. That's called sourcing. That's what a reporter does. And Ali Mutnick, who is the reporter with Punch Bowl News, a very good reporter, I know her quite well, good on her for having the kind of relationship that an Oppo research firm would offer this to her. And there's nothing unethical about a reporter doing it. There's nothing unethical about a reporter using this stuff. It was fully vetted. They went through and checked everything. They just didn't accept it sight unseen. The blaming of McAdams for this is off base because that's just deflection. You're trying to get people mad at the wrong thing. It happened. And it's incredibly damaging. I mean, you just cannot underestimate how damaging this might be. There was a lot of contempt for the LDS Church in these posts, and maybe he's evolved. I think this is incredibly damaging to him. I don't know what sort of impact it's going to have on the primary election. It certainly does not help. It certainly does not help him. Yes, people do change, but this is something that, Nate is going to have to grapple with now, and he is grappling with it. I don't know what the fallout is. I have heard that some of the progressive groups in Salt Lake County who endorsed him are now thinking about rescinding that endorsement, which, if you get a party, a progressive group within the Democratic Party, I don't know how much or how impactful their endorsement is. But I do know it's pretty impactful if an endorsement is rescinded for this reason. It just keeps this in the news cycle. It draws attention to it. And don't expect that this is over. I expect Blouin's opponents to continue to bring it up. These were pretty offensive posts about the LDS Church. And if these are the ones that they publish, you know other ones are floating around out there. You know there are more floating around out there. Hell, I've gone looking for them. I haven't found any really, but I'm still looking for them. If you know how to search, and it would be derelict by me as a journalist to not go looking for these things. And I have, and I still am. And we shall see. I mean, I spent months digging through old tweets from Trevor Lee when I outed him as behind that anonymous, racist, homophobic, transphobic Desnat account that he was running on Twitter. I would be lying if I said I haven't gone digging for more of these posts. I haven't found anything or anything worth publishing. And the main thing is, what it does is it gives you a reason to not vote for him. That's the biggest damage that this does. It gives you a reason to look at the other candidates in the field. If you were going to vote for Nate Blouin and this pops up, it gives you a reason not to vote for him, to not vote for him. And that's what I think the most damaging part of this is. And if he does win the primary, expect them to be weaponized. In a congressional district, that is 50% LDS. If you don't think that the Republican National Congressional Committee, that's the Republican political arm for House Republicans, if you don't think that these posts are going to show up in ads and mailers and online ads and in social media posts, welcome to Earth. I'm glad you're enjoying your first day on the planet, because that's what's going to happen. These will be weaponized against Blouin, especially in this district where Republicans are going to be desperate to try to hang on, especially after the Virginia redistricting plan looks like it has passed, and they're going to be redrawing their congressional maps and giving Democrats potentially likely 4 more seats in the House. As I said before, in the 1st congressional district, Democrats are still the 3rd largest voting bloc in that district. It's Republicans, then Independents, then Democrats. It's not a Democratic majority district. So these posts, if Nate Blouin does win the primary, they will be weaponized against him. That's just how politics works. Old mentor of mine once said, politics is a contact sport. You got to be willing to throw some shoulders and some elbows from time to time.